good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Foxter, on the show tonight. As we're Robert and young JM. Evening, gentlemen.
Evening, Ox. Evening, JM. Good to have you back, Ox, and with the young team.
Yeah, evening, guys. Good to be back on with the pair of you again.
Yeah. Your GB's away grafting. Used to take a leaf out of his book, yeah.
Some holiday pay setup he's got going. It's hardly here.
Yeah. How are you, Robert?
I'm very well, mate. Very well. Yourself?
Good, mate. Good. How are you, young JM?
Yeah, getting there since last Thursday. Slowly getting there.
Oh, just on last Tuesday, lads. There's quite a bit happened. Just briefly get both your thoughts on the couple of performances before we move on and went to the Hearts game and what happened in the Rangers world today. So, Robert, on you go, mate.
Yeah, mate. I was Thursday night was obviously quite frustrating night for us. Lacklustre performance, and unfortunately a result that puts us in a bit of a predicament going forward of a fixture pile up and possible having to juggle the team around based on the fixture pile up. But we just have to deal with it and move on, and we'll see the reaction from the players.
Sunday for you, mate?
Simple, job done, I suppose. Again, a bit better performance, especially at home. Nice seeing Cantwell in his 10 position. I thought he was obviously a lot more influential there than he was in the Thursday night. But again, it was job done. Could have been a bit more goals in the game, but 3 points on the board at the end of the day.
JM.
Well, for me, obviously, Thursday was a bitterly disappointing performance. Robert, alluded there to a few of the issues it would cause. Secondly, there could be significant financial implications just from one bad result. Another game we should be winning that we never. Poor performance from the start to finish, really. Didn't show any creativity, passion or anything, really. Sunday, again, like Robert said, sort of job done, but a pretty poor first half, to be honest, and a slightly, if you like, a slightly on par or just maybe slightly above par second half, but still nothing to get too excited about after the two previous performances.
Pretty fair, lads. Pretty fair, If there was any standouts for you Thursday and Sunday, I think young McCausland would grab the headlines, yeah? Would that be fair, JM?
Yeah, I think there wasn't many at all from the Thursday night, but at least obviously he got his first goal, which I think is a highlight, and he definitely didn't disgrace himself on the Thursday, and then I think for the whole 90 minutes, McCausland on Sunday was probably the man of the match, but obviously I understand why might have went to Cantwell with his 2 assists as well.
Seema with the 2 goals, yeah.
And Seema with the goals as well, obviously, to come in. You could understand arguments for any of them, but I think McCausland definitely had a positive week when it maybe wasn't the most positive for the whole team.
Mm-hmm. Robert?
Yeah, he obviously came on in the Thursday night, played a big part getting the goal, and then on Sunday getting the start, deservedly so. It's probably the right game to give him a start, to be honest. That's no disrespect to St Mirren, but at home, I don't envisage he'll start tomorrow night against Hearts, just because it's the more physicality, so the St Mirren game suited him. But yeah, good performance and minutes under his belt, and I'm sure he'll kick on from that. And it'd be interesting to see if he takes that right mid spot as his own going forward.
Yeah, I think he's got to find his position. But when you're coming into the team, you've ultimately just got to get a jersey, JM.
Yeah, I don't think you can be too fussy, especially at that age when you're coming through the youth system or from the academy. You're just looking to get played in any position and show that you conduct yourself. I think I've read a few things that his actual natural position might be a number 10 as well, but I'm sure it won't go a bad way, especially with the manager seeing his attitude, how he's managed to adapt to right midfield where maybe other so-called more experienced players clearly couldn't.
Is that an attitude thing? Are you calling it out there?
I'd say so. Yeah, I don't see how. Personally, people can talk what they like. I don't get how you can make a pass. You can't make a pass 20 yards further to the right than you can in the middle. Attitude and tracking and running different things. I don't see if you're playing in a number 10 position or in the right midfield position, you should be trying as hard and performing as well. I don't see it as a big difference at all.
Used to when you know this, but I'll let you know that good players can play anywhere. Robert?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Fox. No, I think, as I just said, minutes under the belt for the boy, and he won't mind where he's playing, whether it's right midfield in the 10 position or anywhere else. I think we've seen him before come into the midfield as a advanced playmaker, but when we're playing with a fluidity that you can't really see the shape initially because we're all out attack at times. But again, good performance, and I'm sure he'll kick on from it, and it is a bit of a option to have him, whether it be on the right or in the centre position, depending who's there. But I think at a young age, as Jim said, you just want to go and play football.
Yeah, so we wish him well. I don't think he'll start tomorrow night, but you never know. It'll be interesting to see. Well, what we'll touch on briefly before we go to the manager's press conference is we'll maybe touch on the AGM. I know it's not everybody's bag, but it's important in the run of the club. I don't think today was my finest moment, but we've got to take a lot of satisfaction out of that as well. That the place was absolutely mobbed and we didn't have enough capacity to hold all the people who showed an interest to turn out at the AGM. But you've got to take as a positive, Robert. Eh?
You do, and it's obviously they want to have it at Edmondson House. It's built for things like this, and I'm sure they'll go away and realise that it's probably just a bit too small. So whether we get an expansion before we know it at Edmondson House or the house elsewhere, but no, again, it's an issue or an aspect that some supporters will look at and take things away from it. Others were more concentrated on the football aspect, but there's some interesting points that came from it and some interesting questions that were asked as well, which I'm sure we'll maybe divulge into later.
Well, on you go. The floor's yours, mate. The floor's yours before we move on to the football.
I think it kind of started with Clement obviously addressing the crowd, as well as Joe Potter. She was there as well from the women's team, so it was good to have them both there. Clement's indicated that he wants to build a dominant team full of winners that can do special things, win trophies, get results in Europe against teams with much more money. So he's setting the expectations high, and he's obviously got that from being in the door quite early on and realising that that's what Rangers is about. He touched on the January transfer window as well, which was interesting. That was one of the questions he was asked, and he mentioned that it was hard to change at that point of a season, but more so in the summer you can do a bigger rebuild. But he did admit there was an imbalance in some positions, and that's his priority, to better the balance in the squad. So we'll wait and see what positions that may be come January, and certainly the summer.
Too many number 10s, mate.
Too many number 10s and maybe not a lot of options in other areas, maybe defence or players out of contract as well. He did indicate that there wasn't any discussions yet with players that are due to go out of contract. But John Bennett actually mentioned that there'll be wages freed up, so that indicates that maybe the ones out of contract, there will be some that aren't there next season.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, you've always got to be looking at value for money, and there's going to be some of these guys that are out of contract. They're not going to be near getting new contracts, Jayama.
Yeah, a couple spring to mind for obvious reasons, due to injuries or just not getting game time, whatever, due to age, or if you're looking to improve. Obviously, Balogun's came in a lot recently, but that was maybe seen as a short-term fix for cover. I'm sure Clement's maybe looking to get a more solid partnership with more potential backup in there. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some wages for it, especially like you say, if I was looking for value for money, that's important because in recent years we've done a lot of our operating and free transfers, and typically we know that involves a slightly higher wage structure than for these normal players, but it allows us to get maybe some players of a calibre that we wouldn't be able to otherwise.
I'm all right with that. I don't really care as long as the player turns out to be good. I don't care if it costs X amount of millions and he gets wages, or he gets the wages. I don't know about you, Robert, but I don't care.
No, exactly, mate. As long as the they do the jersey justice and give us something to cheer at the end of the season. They get themselves some trophies and experience behind them that you don't have to spend 10 million on a player. You just look at Jack Butland, free transfer, and instantly we're saying how we've relied on him already. And then at the other end of the park, you've got a striker you've spent 4 million on, and you're still not really sure what's going to happen there. So you don't need to spend it, as you say, mate, to get the quality in.
All right, so what was the next points you picked up?
There's going to be more exploring done on the singing section. There's nothing agreed at board level yet about where that will be placed permanently. But there is going to be a change coming to the disabled section, and that's going to be going to the rear of the Copeland. I think it's estimated about 900 seats will be taken away from the rear of Copeland, and that's where the new disabled area will be. So they're going to be moving season ticket holders. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of communication from the club for people that may be affected with moving seats. That was kind of on kind of the footballing side of things. Everything else was all about the club have plans to fight back and defend the club in the media. That was posed to John Bennett. And he simply said, we don't want to become Statement FC. If you spoke to the authorities, you would describe us as never quiet. So although it might not be in the media that we are responding, it's getting indicated that there is communication being done in the back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, AGMs they're not as glamorous as they sound, Jim.
No, not always. And then when you see, obviously, there's a select through to get to ask certain questions, and people wonder why they've been asked. Obviously, a lot of these questions are, if they don't make believe, have been pre-agreed or whatever. You know, it's a formal effort that the club are let you know what they feel like we need to know. I think maybe because of our history and past as well, I think sometimes our fans might be all football fans maybe want to know a bit too much. And what you're going to know, you can't know everything that goes on.
If it's a shareholder, you're entitled to know more.
Yeah, I suppose you're entitled as a shareholders thing, of course.
However, right, so if anybody wants to discuss that, feel free to join us. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll move on to the football because that's what we're really interested in, chaps.
Absolutely.
Right, so we've got Philip Clement speaking about the game, and it's, we're going to divide up into 3 parts. So we'll hear the first part, we'll have a chat, and then we'll get the phone lines on. That all right, we used to?
That's good to me.
All right. So let's hear for Gaffer. Big Philip Clement.
Philip, another big game tomorrow. Can you just get your thoughts on what sort of challenge you're expecting at Tynecastle?
Yeah, big one. Of course, we beat them now in 2 games. A little bit special. It's my 11th game for the club and the 3rd time against the same opponent. But we had to be 2 times on our toes to have a really good level to beat them. It's a good team, good organization, good attacking players. They are super motivated also. What I hear, what I read about this game to beat us. And it's going to be a big challenge for us.
I suppose that's one of the quirks of Scottish football, that you've come up against some of the teams quite a lot. Does that add an extra element to it, maybe more of a mind games to it in terms of how to approach each game against the same opponents?
Yeah, mind game. It's always like that. You always try to have an idea what the game will be about, how opponents will play their game. So it's in every league the same. For me, it's not a big difference if it's several times against the same team, because long time ago when there were no videos, it was different because you didn't see each other that much. Now you have every detail, you can see every game, so it's not a big difference.
What were the biggest positives you saw at the weekend, and how do you build on those going into the game tomorrow night?
I think a big positive was that we had 90 minutes control of the game. We almost didn't give away anything, just 2 shots from distance, but 2 good shots and 2 good saves, but that you cannot avoid. Of course, and for the rest, that our second half was really good, with a lot of good movement and speed and ball tempo, and several good chances and 2 really good goals that we scored in that game. So it's not easy to break open these walls that teams put. with a line of 5 and a line of 4 in front of that, and then to find space to get really good chances, and the team did really well for sure in the second half.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, I mean, he's very honest, isn't he? We say that a lot about some of our managers, but he's right. You do need patience sometimes against these teams to break them down, but we just like us to play at a slightly better tempo, Robert, if that's fair, yeah?
We do. Whether it's at home or away, we expect to have a high tempo, fast flowing attacking game of football, and although it can become frustrating at times, it always more so or less becomes the outcome that we deserve at the end of the day. But as you say, he is honest, and it will be a tough defence to break down in Hearts. They'll sit in tight. They'll not probably create too many chances, I hope, but we just need to kind of keep our performance levels up. And as you say, if you do it for the full 90 or over 90 minutes now, then you give yourself a good chance and let them chase the game.
And he also mentioned about playing opponents. I was thinking about this, Jim, in a few moments the last few days, and this is where the league doesn't work. Because if we draw Hearts in the Scottish Cup, that'll be 6 times we've played them this year, and it just takes the attraction of a big fixture in Scotland away. I think if they're serious about the game, then we have to go back to the drawing board and come up with something better.
Yeah, 100%. You get certain cup draws, and you get in top 6, and then these teams get in the top 6. Like I say, it can completely become a farce, can't it? And there's been certain seasons we played a certain team where there's been replays as well, and you end up playing them 7 times.
Come on, and Aberdeen, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. There's been a few times, and so it just becomes silly, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It just becomes silly.
He seems that driven. He's not really that worried about who the opponent is. He's all worried about us getting it right, and I think that's a good thing, Robert.
We always say the focus is on ourselves, but when you hear it coming from the manager, then you obviously understand that that's the main focus, and that's what you want to hear, and know that the players are focused on themselves as well, and don't focus too much on the opposition. Obviously, you've got to do your homework on them, and as you say, the third time in Clement's 11 games that he's had, that he'll play Hearts, and I'm sure he's prepared each one differently. It won't take the 2 previous ones going into the tomorrow night as the same team that's going to turn up. The way they played at Ibrox was completely different to the Cup semi-final, so he just needs to focus on us as our players, our strength, and how we can impose ourselves and hopefully win the game.
It's a mental stat, isn't it? It's his third game against Hearts and 11 outings. Giant, it's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems too quick, doesn't it? Considering he's not been here for that long, and obviously 2 of them have been in the same competition.
Yeah.
Not even like he's had an early start to the season in the League Cup or something like that. I mean, I know he played him in the semi-final, but do you know what I mean? It's been twice in the league and then a cup game against the same team.
Anyway, that's just my views. Other people might see different. Right, before we move on to the next part of Phil's interview, I think it's only right we get these phone lines opened up.
I want to hear what other people have to say.
Yep, Robert.
Bring them in.
All right, let's hear from you. Oh. Maybe lost the old fox there on the button. Someone, I hope he's all right. Right, okay. He'll sure be with us in a second, lads, huh?
Fell asleep at the wheel.
His previous job was captain of the Titanic, Robert.
No, we all know how that ended.
Yeah, all right. He just played it. He's right. He did play it after the. Yeah, I was making some notes. He's right. He did play it after. So come and join us. 0141 356 1972. That was the Foxes' faux pas. That was Mainz Giant.
Well, they've got to take the hits sometimes.
It's tough. You make one mistake in life. You make one mistake in life. Right, okay, so Hearts again. Third time we've played them. 11 games. Let's be honest, the game at Ibrox, if it had been a boxing match, they'd have stopped it, but obviously we got the penalty in the winner, so we showed character. The game at Hampden, 3-0 up, we was going on 4, 5 and 6, and we just stopped playing, and the game petered out, they get a penalty, and the game finished. It was a penalty, wasn't it? Shanko scored a penalty, didn't he? I'm right in that, isn't it?
Yep, you're right. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, Davies tripped the boy a few minutes after he came on, didn't he, in the box?
That's right. So Shanko scored. And 3-1 actually for attacks. So we know we play, we win. Robert?
Yeah, exactly. As I said, where it's home or away, it's going to be 3 games in 3 different venues, but we'll go full of optimism. We've got a bit of grit back between our teeth, and performance was a bit more improved against St Mirren than it was the 2 previous games. As I said, it'll not be an easy task going away to Hearts, but if we take the 2 games, as you say, into isolation, then there's always going to be one winner for us, and that's ourselves.
Yeah, tricky fixture. It's these games you have to go in with the right attitude, Giant.
Yeah, and I think they would have learned that very quickly a week ago, wouldn't they? Last weekend, the first away game back after the break. I don't think we started that game with the right attitude for whatever reason, but it's a bit off the pace, and hopefully that was a reminder to the whole team, really, not just one individual, that we need to be up for all of these games, however, superior we feel we are to our opponents.
Yeah, but you go there, it's take apart, decent atmosphere. You've got to be. It's important. You're switched on. Yeah, as they said, you'll have bumps in the road and you'll have bumps in performances, Robert. But if you go there with the right attitude, I think we were a wee bit lax at Pittodrie. I just didn't think we started the game well. And then after that, we were chasing it. Okay, we fought back and we got the draw to death. But we've got to get a good start in these games, mate. Eh?
You do, because you know what the teams do when they score an early goal, or they keep you at 0-0 for as long as they can. They'll just sit in and make us get frustrated, and the long shots come out, or the passing from side to side happens, and there's no real playing between the lines, getting in behind. It's all pedestrian in front of defence. So the quicker you start, the quicker you get the early goal. You let them do the running around and you pass the ball, and it becomes a simple game after that, Ox.
Sometimes, mate, sometimes. Simple game played with simple people. Right, quick announcement here. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen it, boys. Rangers are playing a winter friendly against FC Copenhagen. We've done well in the Champions League this year, on this Tuesday, the 16th of January 2024, 8 p.m. kickoff. So we're going to go through a mini pre-season to get players up with fitness because we have a winter break. Doesn't suggest it's a great idea. Tickets for the friendly price from just £15 for adults, £10 for concessions, £5 for children, and only £1 for use to the junior MyGS members, with 5 MyGS points being available upon purchase of these tickets in general admission ticket sale. So that'll be Stevie and Southside going, Jayama.
Yeah, that'll be them going, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but them going. They might have to fly back from Tenerife or somewhere for that. But talking about they two, I believe they were meeting up tonight, the Blue Brigade, as they're known. They're meeting up on a subway. But they got it wrong. One was on the inner circle and one was on the outer circle, so it took a bit of time. And then they eventually met up in the subway for some meat. Well, one gave the other a ticket for tomorrow night. There's friendship in it.
It's a true story, isn't it? A true story of friendship.
A bromance. Makes you proud, Robert, doesn't it?
It does, and it's a cute thing they're doing. Wish them all the best.
Yeah. Right. Okay, we'll hear the second part if we feel it come on. And then come and join us, 0141 356 1972. Let's see if you're gaffer. Philip, come on.
How's the squad looking injury-wise heading into this one?
Not big difference, I hope, for the weekend. Of course, it's afternoon training. So, because we have the AGM today, so I will hear more when the players come in. It's just 2 days after the game. But yesterday, it seemed okay. Nothing really, really special. A few knocks, a few bumps. I hope no big things this afternoon.
You said this weekend that Nico would be assessed. Has he been assessed yet?
Yes, that it will be a little bit longer than we hoped for. Everybody in the club. So it will take a little bit more time to be fit. Everybody's working really hard with him from the medical staff in the club, and they're doing their maximum. But sometimes these things happen.
Is it just a different type of rehab you'll have to do now?
No, a little bit adaptation in the things he was doing already.
Can I ask you about Kieran Dowell? What's his situation at the club?
Kieran is training hard and doing his maximum every day. We have a lot of players, and for sure in the position that he's playing, there's a lot of competition there.
So has a future at the club?
Everybody has always a future in the club, as long as he's in the club. So, yes, for sure.
Can you give a time scale on Nico, please?
No. First, I'm not a doctor, and we need to adapt now his exercises. So we wanted to make steps with him. It didn't follow in the way we expected. So we need to adapt and see with the new exercises how it will go.
You said, from what you're hearing, it was super motivated. Where are you hearing this? Sorry.
I'm happy that I analyzed the right game. Yeah. You were testing me. I see it.
Yeah, you were saying that Hearts are super motivated. Where are you hearing this from?
I don't read everything, but people tell me a lot of things. So it was clear, the things they put in the press.
And you're going to face a rather informed team. That's 4 league wins in a row.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And it's a good team with also a coach with a history with Rangers. So he's also extra motivated in that way. So we know it's a big challenge to go there. We know.
Philippe, you spoke after the Aberdeen game away from home about the start of the game and maybe speaking with the team after. You said they dominated Jules Link from about 50 minutes. Will the start of the game at your next away game, Tynecastle, be something that you're giving extra attention to ahead of tomorrow?
I give attention every time to that, to be honest. And it's not every time that you can score fast. We had, for example, our game in Dundee where we scored really fast and it opened up the game. Of course, if you have teams who the first start are from the other teams to stop us and you can break that by scoring first, they need to come also, and that creates space afterwards. So it's every time a point of attention from my side. Nothing new there or nothing special there. That's a fine, I think.
You mentioned the other day about you're always learning, you've only been here for a few weeks. Hearts away, is that one of the games where you'll learn a lot of things, maybe Aberdeen away and the bigger teams on their own ground? I
hope to learn as less as possible. Was the same thing before Dundee, that everybody said that's going to be, that was the first away game in the league. So no, it's interesting. I'm not going to learn anything about Hearts away. I know what it is. I've seen the games, I've seen the footage, I've seen the videos. So not learning anything about that. But I'm learning to get to know my players better and better. And that's really important. And in that way, Todd was also a really good example this week. We had really good talks this week, and I get to know the player again better, like other players. So that's important now. That's going to be also a very important thing when we go in training camp in January, where I always take the time to do individual talks with all the players. So it's going to be hard work there in training, and in the evenings it's going to be a lot of talks with the staff together with the players individual to really get to know them. So we're still in, now 6 weeks, I think, here. A lot of things happened already with all the games, all the trainings, all the talks, getting people in, like director of performance, the director of recruitment, all these things was also aside all the things that happened around the games. So it's been a busy period, but I get to know the club and the players better and better.
Right, thanks for that, Fox. He's got his own style. He's going to do it his way. He's going to build relationships. Maybe the winter break will be a good thing then. Listen to Philip there. However, going back to tomorrow night's game, doesn't look as if there's going to be too many changes to the squad. Robert?
No, it certainly doesn't look that way. Obviously, that was before the tune-in this afternoon, so hopefully there's been no knocks or any injury concerns after that. But it seems to be that the squad that was there on Sunday will probably be the same that is again for tomorrow. Whether they all start, i.e. McCausland, we'll obviously discuss again probably later in the show about team selection, but it seems that what the squad is just now is the settled players that it has to pick from. And unfortunately, Raskin's obviously going to be a bit longer term, which is personally I think a bit frustrating. I'd have liked to seen him in this Clermont side. I know he played maybe 1 or 2 games before it, the injury, but I thought he would be the one that kind of kicks on a wee bit. So it's a bit of a miss to see him.
And it looks to me as if it was ankle ligaments, JM. And, you have to get them back. You have to be careful
Yeah,
with them.
At least the supporters, we saw that injury as well. A lot of them seem to be a bit Houdini throws an odd one in training, but that was a clear accident playing a game, wasn't it? That's a bad bit of luck for him. And it takes as long as it takes. They're going to want to get that right.
Aye. You can't rush it. You can't do anything to make it heal quicker. You can nurse it along, but you're not going to take weeks off it.
No. They like to say, obviously he'll be at a certain level of fitness, as you're saying, just tweaking the exercise and however, to get him back to full functionality or whatever, right? Movement in the ankle itself. So obviously I just like the fact he's not kidding us on, pretending it's going to be 2-3 weeks and we're still sat here at the end of December asking where he is. I think the only time we'll know when he's ready to play is when he's in the next squad.
And as Fox says, sometimes he's not a doctor.
No, Fox is definitely not a doctor, and nor is Big Philippe either, and rightly so. Just completely avoiding the question. Well, not avoiding it, just not giving an answer he doesn't feel he's qualified or should be given.
Yeah, they put that one to bed, didn't he, Robert?
It's not for the first time he's done that, Ox. His initial press conference when he was unveiled, he was asked about the injury concerns and fitness, and he gave the same answer pretty much. It was almost like for like. He's not a doctor. He leaves that to the staff, and I think the head of performance coming in, Tom Taylor, I think that will limit or at least down the injuries, and will oversee the fitness as a whole, along with Dr. Mark Waller that's there. So hopefully it's a new process that we see players returning from injury quicker or less injuries happen more frequently and nursed a bit better than they have been under previous regimes for some reason.
Aye. Listen, that's what it is. It's part of football. And I think people think these people are going to have a magic wand. I mean, you know how you kind of legislate for the Raskin one. He makes a shot, falls out awkwardly, does his ligaments in his ankle. That's what it looked like to me, JM. And you just have to deal with it. It's part of the game, isn't it?
Every team's going to get injuries and whatnot, playing injuries, knocks. You're even going to get the odd knocks in training, but I think obviously, rightly so, supporters, the pure number we've had and the amount of players we've had on decent contracts that have hardly kicked a ball for us over recent years, leads to added frustration. But not of this Raskin one is unique. It is what it is. You're going to take knocks playing in the middle of the pitch.
Okay, you mentioned Kieran Dowell, who's not really been near Robert, eh?
No, he's not. Again, in pre-season, I like the look of him. He seemed to be quite energetic and a willing runner from midfield. And then he got a goal against Livingston, which was some finish, to be honest. But since then, he's had an injury concern himself. He's featured in the B team games, scored against Airdrie last couple of weeks, a week or two ago. But again, somebody that people will look in and go, what does the future hold? And that's obviously the question that was asked. But again, he answered it quite professionally. While they're at the club, they have a future. Didn't be drawn on any speculation or anything. So be interesting to see if he comes into the squad tomorrow night, even if it's on the bench. Don't think he would start, but again, it's somebody that's coming back from fitness and another addition in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I don't even know if he'll be involved. Would be interesting. Cheyenne?
It's a strange one, isn't it? I was thinking that, especially after the international break, I thought maybe we'd see him at some point because he had a bit more time to recover or whatever. And I saw, obviously, he was at Pataudry, he was there maybe as the 19th man or whatever, but it just seems a really strange one with, obviously, Clement with his clean slate and whatever, and nearly every other player, if you like, that could be involved in the first team has had a look. And for whatever reason, Dow hasn't had a look. And I'm sure the easy answer would be if he's not fit. Clement, said the answer is working hard and training hard every day. So I don't know if that tells the boy he's completely not up to standard or if he's just going to have to be really, really patient.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we've not seen enough of him to judge. I think you made the point, Robert, that he started the pre-season, he looked okay. And then the season sort of kicked on. He scored a great goal against Livingston, but he sort of disappeared through one thing and another.
Yeah, he has. And again, it's probably his position as well. Putting the injury aside, Clement said that there's a lot of players in his position, and that can obviously be the 10 as well. I know he can play as an 8 in the middle of the park, but he again looks more energetic in the 10. And I've already mentioned that there's quite a number of players in that position, whether they're a favourite or not in that position, but that's probably went against him as well. And it's where he gets game time, if that is his position, given the squad that we have and the personnel in that position. So it may be interesting to see where he changes, or where he comes in and has an impact, whether it be obviously initially as a substitute first of all, but he's got to get into the squad first.
Right, and then you go to on the bench, then you go on the pitch. Yeah, you need a bit of luck sometimes, Cheyenne. Look at young McCausland. He might not go on at Love Street and maybe not get a run in the team if Lovelace doesn't have a bit of bad luck.
No, if Lovelace comes in and takes his opportunity like McCausland took when he got his, which I'm sure the kid's more than capable of doing, you're right, it's just luck in where you're being played, isn't it? And how you find the position, because suddenly there's not a position at right mid, because potentially Lovelace might have made it his own. You never know. So, no, you're right, just a bit of luck sometimes, certain players not being fit or whatever. But it just shows you, I don't know what it says when we're really struggling for centre midfielders. I mean, I don't know what it says about Beale or whatever, but you've got to remember, Dow almost played as a sitter the first game of the season away at Kilmarnock, and now he can't get a look in when we're down to the bare bones in midfield.
Yeah, he had an injury, so he's come back from injury, but he's not been close. Well, it'll be interesting to see if he gets involved, gets a chance and grabs his opportunity. Robert, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Go for it.
Right, I'll ask you this question. Right, so, well, I'm sure we'll maybe talk about it as the month goes on, but if you were a manager and you were saying, right, there's 2 positions I need for January to strengthen the squad, what positions would that be for you?
Centre mid and striker.
So that's a centre mid sort of to complement the Jack, Lundstrom, etc. Yeah?
Jack Lundstrom, obviously a contract. Raskin's injury, we don't know about, so that kind of leaves just Cifuentes there. We're having to play Lawrence deeper against St Mirren there. And as Jim said, Dibbles not been in, like been on the bench. If he has been fit the past maybe 1 or 2 games, so certainly a centre mid could be an option. And striker, cool. Just a bit more firepower. Obviously, Dessers hasn't done too much for us. Hopefully, it'll change over time, but it's how long you give that time. And I think we need a additional striker. We've not seen Roof as well, so.
JM, same question, your good self.
I would tend to agree, Rob, but I'm going to, for different, I believe, centre mids, I think, are a must, and wingers. and I'm going to just wingers as broad. We need more wide men. I don't believe we've got. Sorry,
to help Scott Wright, Matondo, Seamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Yep.
So what kind of wide men are you talking about? Are you talking about pacey direct players? Are you talking about traditional midfielders? Or are you talking about dribblers? What are you talking about?
I want pacey. I want pace, people that can go on the outside and get the ball cut back into the box. I think we've got enough guys that can float out and cut in. Obviously, Seamer does that on the left-hand side. We've got McCausland and maybe whoever can go on the right. I want a bit of pace. I want pace on the wings. It's going to make defences scared to push forward and get too tight. I believe at the moment defences aren't too scared to get tight against us.
Okay, all right. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do, gentlemen. We'll hear the third and final part for Philip Clement. Yeah, Big Phil, the Prince, as Fox calls him. And then hopefully we'll get some people to join us. 0141 356 1972. Right, let's hear the last part of our gaffer's press conference.
Are you looking to reshape the squad as well? You've also got the January transfer window coming in. That's all part of that process as well, is that?
Yeah, of course, like in every team. But of course, reshaping it in January is much more difficult than reshaping it in the summer. That's also reality in football for every club. So I'm realistic about that.
But you do see yourself doing some business in January?
Yeah, that's the idea, to do some things, but it will not be a lot of things. It needs to be the right things.
And in terms of outgoings, have you had any conversations yet with players?
No, because first we need to make a good assessment about that. It's not good, it's not fair, it's not honest to do it in 6 weeks. It's really short term that we have to make decisions around that. So until January, and even in January, players have the time to prove themselves that they are the right man for the club or the right man for the position. So it's an open battle in that way to show themselves.
You said after the Aris game you had the conversation with Todd, you had playing at 10 at the weekend. Can we see Todd playing consistently in that position now? If selected, obviously.
No, I don't think that is the right thing to say. If he's performing like he performed in the weekend, he will play there more regularly. But it all has to do with performances. But it can be also that he needs to play moments on the right side, because the team needs that if we have injuries and not enough available players there. That's part of football. And it's not something specially for Todd. Tom Lawrence played also another position than he always played. And he did the job for the team. And if everybody does that, then we're stronger. But Todd is ready for that. We had really good talks around that.
I think a lot of the fans, and maybe your bosses as well, are quite encouraged by the start that you've made, which is nice as you're about to go into your first Rangers AGM.
It's always nicer in that way than in another way. But I'm not too much busy about that. It's not about me. It's about this club. It's about this team, the history. I want to bring trophies back here for the club. At the end of my career, I will not count if I won 6 titles or 10 titles or 8 titles will not be so important. I love to do things with people together, and that to give people pleasure, to give people fun. I love this job when we win games and I see afterwards people being happy in the stands, players being happy, and players who evolve, become better, make transfers to better teams, being proud about that, getting the best out of them, working together with staff members in a good way every day to have a really good dynamic in the club. Those are the fuel for me to do this job, not how many things for myself. I've never been like that, not as a player and not as a manager.
Though there is a big demand here to win trophies, the fans will be counting how many trophies you win, even if you're not.
No, but don't take me wrong. I want to win a lot of trophies. If I do something, I want to win. You were asked also the questions a few weeks ago about European game and the cup. If I make choices, I will not make choices. I want to win both.
Oh, I like Big Phil. Giant.
He says a lot of the right things, doesn't he? I do like him. He answers everything as surely and, strictly business, isn't he? I do, must admit, I did like that. I did like that last part of the interview a lot. Everything from what he said about Campbell to what he said about winning.
Yeah, I like the Cantwell bit that he said, look, yeah, it might be good there, but he'll go when he's told. Basically, that's what he was saying, huh?
Yeah, 100%. I can imagine it was told to him a lot straighter than that, maybe after the game on Thursday night as well. If anyone thinks that giving the ball away to losing as a goal and possibly costing us Europe is the way to get played in your right position, he's killing himself on, basically. He needs to learn, and rightly so, and also mentioned that other players play out of position and do it for the team, and rightly so.
Yeah. He's got to show a maturity. Todd Cantwell, he has shown some petulance, particularly maybe with some of the bookings he's got himself involved with, Robert. But hopefully this is the start of plenty for him, making things happen. And we're talking about Todd, the football player, no Todd, the guy who's getting involved with referees or making silly and daft fouls. We talk about Todd. Wow, what a talent we've got. Hopefully, Robert.
Yeah, we know what he's capable of, Ox. We've seen it last season as well. And when he came in, he hit the ground running, to use the old phrase. We were all surprised about his defensive work as well. So we know that he likes to get stuck in. He will pick up fouls and bookings, but sometimes they're needless bookings. And as you say, it does get involved. And the more you talk about Todd Cantwell, the footballer, the goals, the assists, then it's the better player you get. And if he kicks out the kind of petulance, as you say, out his game, then you do get a much more stronger footballer. And we all know the ability he's got. It's a different level from the team that we've got and the players around him. And when he plays well, you can kind of see the players around him as well. They thrive off it. He can get the ball, drive us forward. So he's got a flair in him. Just doesn't need to have the flame all the time. Just the flair is enough.
Here's a question for both these. Has he missed his mate, Nico Raskin? Giant?
No, because his mate was playing at the start of the season, and I don't think Todd Cantwell's been very good all season. No, I don't think that's an excuse.
All right. Robert?
No, I think I'll agree with Jim on that. It's fair to say that the manager that brought him in has left, so I think he came out and said that publicly, that it was a bit of a tough period for him. So a lot of things have probably went on in his head, and a new manager changing position. But I don't think it's the Raskin impact. I think it's more mind in his head. Mind over matter.
Mind over matter. Mind over matter. Right, okay. Is Todd Cantwell starting for both of you tomorrow night? Robert?
Yes.
What are you thinking, JM?
Still yes. But you just want to see the best of Todd Cantwell, don't you? That's the more frustrating thing.
And where are you playing him? Where are you playing him, JM?
I'm playing it tomorrow night. That's a good point. I'm playing it. If he's playing at his best tomorrow night, I'm playing him on the right hand side.
Right hand side.
Yeah.
Oh, controversial, Robert.
Personally, I would play him in the 10, but I think he will play in the right. Just given what the manager said about he'll be asked to play in certain games. We've all said here so far we don't expect McCausland to start. He might surprise us, and if he does, it's a big step up for him. But I think Campbell will be on the right, and you may see Lammers come back into that 10 position.
You're breaking up there, Robert. I never really caught that last bit.
You can listen to it back.
I need to go and have a lie down. JM.
I'm taking back a little bit. No, I can see Robert's thoughts, but I think we'll see the same starting 11 that we saw at Pataudry, even though I thought Cifuentes was the worst player on the pitch on the Thursday night, but I thought he was okay at Pataudry, and just due to options, I think that's what he'll go back to. Maybe obviously the centre halves, depending obviously goals.
Nobody asked about Ryan Jack, did they?
I don't think they've probably been told not to, have they? I see he's fit enough to go sign some autographs on the 15th of December. Like.
Well, it's always saying some autographs, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with his wrist.
Yeah, well, what are going to be signing a Scotland shirt?
All right, you mean for the promotion? All right, I
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah, he's...
Well, it wasn't mentioned at our press conference today, so is there any chance of a surprise there tomorrow night? You just accepting he's not playing, Robert?
I think he's not playing. Although he wasn't mentioned directly or asked directly, I'm sure if he was available, Clement would have maybe indicated that he was back in the squad at least, but no mention would indicate not fit for the game.
He said pretty much the same availability, didn't he? He just said there was no real changes. He was hoping. I think he was more hoping that we took no more knocks and it would have the same players available.
Mm-hmm.
When's the next international break?
March or something, isn't it? March. February, March, something like that.
Find out who he played 2-3 weeks before that.
Yeah.
He'll be back, won't he?
Well, I think that if that's the case, that ship's sailed, you know. That ship's sailed. I mean, a lot of people have said that for a long time, you know. It's quite galling that he'd come back in, we were playing well, and he was part of that, and he's now sitting in the stand, you know, right? But anyway, people have their own views on that. Well, come and join us before the tune. This is a phone-in show, and we need you to make it work. 0141 356 1972. If you've nothing to say, let us know, because the boys don't need to sit all night. No, take your questions. We need you, our listeners, to help it work. So come and join us. 0141 356 1972. There's a lot happening in the club with the EGM today. You might have your views on that, where it took place. You might not have took too much of it. You might be looking for more. And we've also got to discuss how our managers conducted himself at his press conference and at the EGM. And your thoughts about a big game of football tomorrow night, Robert. So you've got Cantwell in the 10. No, you've got Cantwell.
Personally, I'd play him on the 10, but I think he'll start in the right.
You think he'll start in the right and Dessers will come back? Yeah, sorry, Lammers will come back?
Lammers into the 10.
Okay, well, you might be right. So you pretty much get the same team that, well, they've not really played that much together, but the same team as last Thursday night. Then is that what you're thinking? Then nearly that, Robert?
I maybe just have Lawrence still in beside Lundstrom and have Cifuentes still on the bench, but that'd probably be the only changes I would have. And obviously Goldson and first suitor from the Thursday night game in Balogun. So 2 centre halves, Lawrence. So 2 changes from the weekend, I think it is. McCausland out and Lammers will come into the 10. Dessers will go on the bench for Danilo, and that'll be the lineup.
You still got Lawrence playing next to Lundstrom?
Yes.
What are you thinking, Giant?
I'm thinking just with the manager's comments about McCausland in regards to the amount of football and stuff as well. I think he might take tomorrow night to maybe not play from the start. So that's why I think Cantwell will go to the right. I personally would then play Lawrence in the 10. And obviously Seamer on the left, and I would have just due to options, you'd have Lundstrom and Cifuentes behind him in the 2. So the 4-2-3-1. And that would be me. I think the manager's mentioned previously in interviews that he wants to be careful with McCausland due to the amount of football at a higher intensity. And I think just with the away fixture and everything, not that I think the boy needs protecting in a one-off game, but I think it's an opportunity to maybe manage him, if that's the right way of putting it.
Yeah, he's had some decent amount of minutes in 2 games, and obviously sports science, you need to protect him. He's got other things to do to develop. Do I think he'll start tomorrow night? No, I don't. Do I think he might take part? Yeah, I do. Robert?
Yeah, certainly come off the bench. Probably for the man that I've put in, Lammers. The only other person I thought that might start, if it's not Lammers, if he keeps Cantwell in the 10, would be probably Matondo on the right. But I don't know how match fit he is to get flung in from the start as well. But I do think McCausland will get some minutes. Probably about, dare I say, the best part of 25, 30 minutes maybe.
What you looking at in the back four, Giant?
That's a good question to us. Just obviously with the suspension and with the different, we've still not really seen a settled one. I would have said before the break I was 100% confident with Balogun and Goldson, but then I was really disappointed with how they performed together away at Pataudry. I didn't think it was just one of them. I thought they were both poor on different occasions, couldn't handle a couple of strikers. But I'm not sure on the others. Definitely Goldson. And yeah, gun to my head right now, I think I'd still go with Balogun for the physical attributes. But to be honest, that's the left centre half is still a big gap for me. And maybe have been number 3 on my list if you're asking me where we'll have to sign a player.
Yeah, I think we've got a problem with left back, mate, if you're being honest, mate. I mean, I thought Bonner done okay at the weekend and done okay against Aris. But I don't think he'll be lazy to start next season. And is Ridvan the answer? Because we don't see that much of him. And that's a couple of managers now that haven't really fancied them. So I don't know what's going to happen there. It'll be interesting. Robert?
It certainly is. It always is an interesting position when you've got a player out of contract and the backup hasn't really had a chance to do anything, and when he has, he's either been under pressure. The last time we played Hearts at Ibrox, then Yilmaz was caught under the ball with the Lawrence Shanklin goal. Obviously, height disadvantage went against him, but it was an area that Hearts also done their homework on, and they exploited that. So it will be an interesting January or summer to see that left back position, but I think there's positions that are in a wee bit more priority just before that one.
Mm-hmm.
Just
it used to be that they used to say that was the critical one of the two, because most teams would be lopsided coming down the right, JM. Yeah, traditionally, yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Normally the strongest player would be the right winger. And then, and obviously, the centre forwards would be right-footed and start to move and whatever, and right midfielders would play that way and different things.
Yeah, just naturally teams move to the right because more right-footed players in that team. But it doesn't always the case. But so your left back was involved more than, but no always. But I think we'll get an issue there if you accept that Borner's not going to be ways in August. And if anybody thinks Ridvan's the answer, I've not seen it yet. I don't think the guy's a bad footballer. Is he what we're looking for? I don't know, Jim.
It's a tough one, but like you say, managers got to be prepared to gamble to give him a run of games to see it. It's amazing he's been here that long. I know he's been injured a few times as well, which is also concerning for somebody that hardly plays. But can you really tell until he gets a good run of games together and he's been tested? I mean, both Borner and Tavernier have played there for years. They've been beaten by weaker headers than the one Shanklin done for Hearts. And then we're just going to judge them. I know it's hard. You've got to take your chances or whatever, but it can't be any secret to the management team when you play him at left back that teams are going to peel off and try and header a ball against him.
I don't think he's any worse than the Adam Borner, mate. I think during a season he'd win as many headers as Borner.
Well, that's what I mean. I think this is actually more concerned ever. He seems sharp. He's a good player, almost if you like a good boxes fives player or whatever. Looks really good on the ball, but I reckon I can count on one hand the amount of times I've seen him put in a good cross. A really good cross, like, the kind we're used to from Borner maybe over the course of the season. That seems to be his weak point.
Yeah, maybe. Listen, if I'm being honest, we'll come back to it, Robert. We've not seen enough to judge. Right, gentlemen, get yourself on mute, because we're going to have a tune.
I'd been in exile for some years and my eyes filled up with tears when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. So I took a trip along just to hear some famous songs when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. I stood there all alone while the boys all down from home sang of Rangers, that team of great renown. And a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. There There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung, and a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now on the field below, the boys put on a show, the likes they'd never seen at Molyneux. And it's football, it was grand, from Macmillan, Scott and Brand, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung, and a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now the white flag must come nearer, with men like Bobby Shearer, the way he played at Wolverhampton town. And the world forever after would sing of Jimmy Baxter, for on his head they placed that noble crown. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung, and a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now I knew it had to happen, I heard a mighty roar, the famous Glasgow Rangers they had scored, and the sky was white and blue, Wolverhampton shook right through, the loyal ramping Rangers had come through. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung, and a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. When the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
What a tune. What a tune. What a tune. Yeah, you heard the man. It's your show, it's your platform. Come and join us. 0141 356 1972. Pose a question to the two young boys, J.M. and Robert. Right, so have we got this back four sorted yet? What are we agreeing? With Tavin Golson start, Butland in goal. Who's gone for Balogun? J.M., you went for Balogun?
Yeah, I've gone with Balogun.
Borna?
Yeah, I think that's the two, Balogun and Borna.
Robert, what are you thinking?
Balogun and Borna. Tav, Golson, Butland. Exact same.
Right, so in the midfield, Lundstrom starts. No a lot of options. We all agree on that.
Yep.
Yeah. I think he can be the focal when he has to play at a tempo. If that makes sense, J.M., he can be really frustrating sometimes. But if you go back to some of the games before the break, he was excellent.
100%. See, when he's just breaking it up and shifting the ball, he's a very, very effective centre midfielder. And now I don't know how much is down to when he's got options in front of him, and maybe because you don't always see the big picture if there's passes in front of him. But I find when we're playing badly, he has a lot of the ball for longer. And when he starts distributing the play and setting the tempo and that slow between the back three, that's when we're not playing very well. But if he gets up for a game, starts breaking the game up, shifting it to your Cantwells and your Lawrences, that's when he's playing his best.
Robert?
Yeah, fully agree. When you have John Lundstrom missing, you can see that the midfield is not as effective when compared to when he is on his game, and the amount of grass he can cover as well. He's got a good recovery speed. If players get in behind, he's always quick off the mark to kind of chase down and put them under pressure, win the ball back. So again, limited options, but even if we did have them, I think he would be the first name in the middle of the park named anyway.
Right, who we pairing up beside him, Robert?
I'm going to go with Tom Lawrence, just because of the way I think the game's going to go. They'll sit in. We'll need somebody to play the ball through the lines and get us forward a wee bit. Lundstrom can be the sitter, the tidy up midfield, if you want to use the phrase. And Lawrence can have the pass and the drive forward.
What are you thinking, Jay?
A little bit different. It'll be in my team still, but I'll just play Cifuentes in there. I don't know. I mean, Lawrence had due to options maybe being hypocritical, he's still giving me the team. But since the break, I don't think Lawrence's performances have been that great. I think the manager's been clear, and he's been in interviews as well saying he's still getting up to speed before he don't feel like he's 100% at it. But I just feel like we might just need, especially for the opening 10, 15, these away games, I think we might just need a touch more bite in the holding positions just for a few battles.
Is there room for the two of them? Could you play Cifuentes and play Lawrence in the right?
Well, what do you mean? As in, I'm playing 2 and then I'm playing Lawrence in front of him as a 10.
Right, okay. With Cantwell on the right?
With Cantwell on the right.
Yeah, I remember Lawrence has played right for that position before. I remember once, I think, against Eindhoven. Yeah?
Yeah, no, he played well. I think he was also playing there when he came in to score that header at Easter Road as well. I'm pretty sure that was the position he was playing that day as well.
Mm-hmm. So there is options with Tom Lawrence, if that makes sense. Robert?
Yep, certainly it is an option. I just think the games that obviously there's not a lot of breaks in between them, and they obviously get 90 minutes under his belt there on Sunday, which was pleasing to see. I think we'll take that into consideration for the selection, and it might just be a game that he starts on the bench and comes on along with Ross McCausland around about the half an hour, 25 minutes to go kind of mark to see the game out or inject some sort of pace. But for me, it's going to be obviously starting in the midfield role.
All right. And on the left, is it Sima? We agree with that the way we're at the moment? Is it Sima got to start, Jayam?
Yeah, 100% he's playing, isn't he? Especially after Sunday. He does fair play to him. He always seems to be one of the first names on there. Always tries his leg. Maybe not, a few games up to that. Not the best of luck in front of goal, but he's always a threat in coming off a back of 2 goals. So he's definitely starting for me.
Robert?
Yep, probably the kind of natural left mid winger that such we've got. Even though he's probably right-footed, it makes sense to keep him there. He's got his mojo back, he's got his goals, and that'll give him a boost, I'm sure.
All right, okay. Just to let you know, lads, probably the reason I'm not getting any calls is we've been banned in East Timor, Chad, Bhutan, Ivory Coast, Iran, Maldives, Moldova, and the British Virgin Islands, which will affect Fox greatly, and North Korea. I thought we were big in North Korea. There you go. Every day's a school day, yeah?
Yep, that is. That's a few callers missing out there.
Aye. Ivory Coast, I'm not too keen on their flag.
I wonder why.
Huh? There you go. Right, come on, join us. 0141 356 1972. Because the boys might want an early night if you don't phone in. Let's hear for you. So come and join us. Give us your thoughts. What's your team going to be? Do you think things are going well? Are we ahead of the curve since Clermont come in? We've not lost a game, J.M.
No, definitely. I'd say positive. Obviously, the results. Just the European results, just not results. That's unfair, but that was you can't say anything. That was a poor result. That was a game we should be winning. I don't know if you're listening to it. I wasn't too negative after the Potodra game. I think that result can happen anytime. But the fact that, not so much blaming Clermont, them players got beat away at their place when we shouldn't have done. The fact that we had no bite and we couldn't do it at home, that really disappointed me. That's the one negative. Apart from the rest, would be straight A's for Clermont so far.
Straight A's, Robert?
Yeah, I think it would be fair to kind of look at the games that we've dropped points, whether it be in Europe or in the league. The Aberdeen game, we hit the woodwork. Their keeper made a few saves, so you can't say it was the fault of trying. I'd rather get a draw, trying to fight and get the 3 points than dwindle a point across the line, if you know what I mean. So the performance and the effort was there, but the Thursday night game, it went backwards for me. And as I said, it gives us that week in particular away to Betis, needing a win or a draw depending on the results, and then a cup final 3 days later. So it becomes a huge week when it could have been a wee bit more relaxing, midweek especially.
Aye, man, these things are set to tries. I mean, we should have won that game. But did we deserve to win it? We deserved to win Merit Pataudry, and we did last week. The game last Thursday just petered out. You know, it was poor, Chaya. It was poor.
It was a disgrace, wasn't it? That them last 10, 15 minutes. I mean, the whole game wasn't very good, but it looked like them players had settled for a draw, and they almost had been told to. There was no energy or no gumption or anything. It was quite embarrassing, really, to be honest. The lack of ideas. Found it strange too. You know, just shows you what he thinks of Dessers. That's 2 games in a row where Danilo had much luck. We didn't even think to try and change the striker. I don't know. It was a really strange and thankfully a performance we hadn't been used to since Clement came in. But I also think you start to hear it in the crowd, especially after, say, the first half an hour on Sunday. The fans hadn't forgot it, and the players are still on, fin to thick ice in regards to, the fans are aware that these players haven't been performing all season. Don't forget that a few wins, we haven't quite forgotten it all yet.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't think it helps. I don't know where this is came from. Every butt in the road, everyone doing it at half time. Yeah.
I don't think it's the results. It's not the fact that I think it's the fact that you watch it and the other team's keepers aren't having to make saves.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a butt in the road, is it? The Aberdeen keeper had to make a few saves and hit the bar a couple of times. That's different. On Thursday, we played a team that I don't know if there'd be a few quick players. They're no different to another team that plays in the SPL, and that would have been a 90 minutes plus another half and 120 minutes, and we barely tested a goalkeeper.
Yeah, but I get it. But maybe I'm a different generation for you, and I know we've got the right to protest, and I know we've got the right to voice our frustrations. But boom, my team is not something I do personally. I'm not annoyed and frustrated. Yeah, but we try and get behind them. Just the way everybody's different, Robert.
Yeah, I'm yourself, mate. I'm not a big fan of the booing, and as you said, with supporters we get frustrated, but if we're booing, we're only putting the players down, so let's get behind them, and if they need that lift from us, we know that we can spur them on. We've seen it over the years and against much bigger teams than us in Scotland and the rest of the SPL, so let's get behind them and give them the backing. Confidence is a great thing in football, mate. You get confidence, you can get results.
Maybe just Giant's a bit more tone-faced than me and you, Robert. You know what I mean? You're naturally happy-go-lucky guys.
That could be it. That might be it. We'll try and spread some festive cheer over them.
Ho, ho, ho.
You Santa, we're the elves.
Well, don't know about that, mate. Don't know about that. Anyway, we've been down to Joanna. Evening, Joanna.
Hello, everybody. Hello, it's Robert.
How are we doing? What's on your mind?
Oh, wait, I need to mute this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, okay. I just want to be part of the show tonight. That's okay with you?
Oh, you went quiet. Go on then, Joanna. Speak up.
I'm just saying that I want to be on the show tonight.
You're on the show.
In my mind, I'm thinking about Raskin and Canwell being my number 10. But then now you change it to the right, so he's not number 10 anymore because now you change it.
Right, okay. So who would you play there? Joanna? If everybody
I'll
was...
play Canwell number 10 and I'll play Dessers forward, but nobody likes Dessers.
Right, somebody's got to like him, Joanna. Cantwell the number 10. Cantwell at number 10. Well, I would play him at number 10. I think Roberts would play him, but he thinks the manager might play him in the right. Robert?
Yeah, but we know his abilities, and you're right, Joanna. He is a 10. Naturally, we can see that. In you only have to look at the weekend. He gets 2 assists and pass completions like 90% plus. So he's a lot more effective in that central role. And when he is on the right side of the park, you see him naturally wanting to drift in, and that's just a natural instinct that he has because he knows of the impact he can give on the game. And when he goes into the centre, it kind of means that there's 2 players got to be up on him because of how tricky and skillful he is. So it creates space as well on that right side. So personally, as I said, I would play him in the centre tomorrow night, number 10, but I do see him playing on the right.
Yeah.
We'll bring Kirky back. Kirky joined us, but Kirky, we'll bring you back in again, but you've got the show turned on. We'll bring you right back in, mate. JM, how do you see the Cantwell thing? You've been critical, very critical of him off air.
Yeah, been critical of his attitude. I don't think anyone can agree that his attitude in the last few games have been very good. I can't, but people say fair enough, he should be playing in the position, but I don't think that should affect how you try and play for us. I just don't. I don't see how it could change too much, but I do see him, play at the number 10. If we had the players on the right and left, I would play him at number 10.
You wouldn't play him at number 10?
No, if we had a strong right winger and a strong left winger, I think he'd be our first choice number 10 at the moment, and he'd be given the right to give him a run of games. But unfortunately, we haven't quite got that balance due to maybe our previous manager's signings. So players are going to have to chop and change a little bit so we can balance that side out a little bit. But in an ideal world, I think Todd Cantwell would be playing behind the strikers, wouldn't he?
Well, anyway, we'll be joined by Kirky. Evening, Kirky.
Good evening, lads. How are you tonight?
How we doing, mate? How we doing? Good to hear from you.
No, not too bad. I would just play Cantwell at number 10. I just think you're only getting 30 or 40% out on the right hand side. Is just not the player he is on the right. The difference in the second half and yesterday's game was unbelievable with him.
Do you think that's right though? In general, like, what do you think the difference is for being moved? Literally, you're talking 20 yards across the pitch. Do you think Todd Cantwell's got to take a little bit of responsibility for that, just with his attitude of how he's played there?
Are you talking to me?
Sorry, I'm asking about. I'm asking about the. Do you think that? Sorry, Coach. Do you think that's right? That obviously, rightly so, he has played better there. But do you think Todd Cantwell, the player, the person, has to take a bit of responsibility for that?
Well, he has himself, but the thing at the end of the day is, if he's playing in the middle of the park, he's got the whole of the park to work. If he's playing on the right, he's only got so much. And if he cuts inside, he's still not got the whole of the park to play on. You give that boy the free roll. And I'm not even saying I can't see burning out a 20-year-old right winger. To be quite honest, that boy will be fit on the whole of that team put together. I know he maybe get knocks and maybe get off form, but folk are saying to get him rested. Why do you think we need to rest the boy? He's 20-year-old. He's not like a 16, 17, 18-year-old. He's a 20-year-old. He's a man now. He's not just a boy.
He doesn't look 20, does he? If I'm being honest, but like myself.
No, I wish I looked that age. I'll tell you.
Looking young's a curse sometimes, Rob.
Can I say something, Ox?
Yeah, of course you can, Joanna. On you go.
I just want to say, that middle part of the field is always so empty. So if Cantwell can do that job and stay in his position, and he does best in that position, I don't understand how people can not agree with that. And for example, the last game that he was taken off and then substitute very early, and everybody was not happy with it. Sometimes you need that to do that to a player. So I thought that was some character from Philippe Clement there to do that. So I didn't understand too much why I suppose that like the crowd were booing that decision. I think we were craving for a manager with this type of kind of decision making and temperament, and then we have it and we booing. I don't understand that.
I can't say why people were booing, Joanna, but here's my take on it. Yeah, it wasn't the fact that Cantwell get took off and young McCausland come on. It was the fact that Cifuentes and Lammers stayed on the park. Robert?
Yeah, I was just about to say, it was probably more the personnel on the park. It's not the first time the fans have done that. You recall your mind back to the Old Firm game when Roof got taken off and the fans booed at that, but it was because Dessers was on the park still. So it's not always aimed at the player coming off or the decision the manager's making. It might be a decision that they agree with, just the wrong personnel coming off. And then, as Ox said, in that game, there was probably 2 players that were probably lucky to not be coming off for McCausland at that point. But I agree with your point there, Joanna. In the middle of the park, it's where Cantwell can thrive, and it kind of goes a bit with Kirky as well. The more space he has, the more influential he is, and he can make things happen. You put him in the right wing, all they have to do is show him back up the way towards Tav if Tav's behind him, and you can't get him in the game. So give him that freedom of the park, and he'll cut you. He'll get the balls in behind. We've seen it many times already. So absolutely agree that he will naturally play more on the 10 should his performances merit. But again, the manager's indicated that at times he might be on the right, and I think they might just see that tomorrow night, personally.
Anyway, we've been joined by Smurf as well. What buses? One went for one all night, then 3 will come along together. Evening, Smurf.
Evening, Ox. Evening, everybody. Just GM was saying how a previous manager set about dismantling any width in the team. Obviously, accommodate the fullbacks, I get that, but the team's got no natural width. And, you know, putting players out wide that's not maybe their position. I think it's easy to question somebody's attitude when they're just that's not their game. Paul Cantwell's at number 10, and the more players we get in our natural positions, the better. But he's got a valid point, because the destruction has seen us play players where they shouldn't be. Big Seamer's been out wide in the left, and all things being equal, if we had width, I think that guy's a starter week in, week out through the middle, and I'd like to see him play there tomorrow.
I would like to see him. I don't think he'll play there tomorrow, but I would like to see him through the middle. I think that's a great point. JM, you want to come in any points?
Yeah, sure. No, I agree. I've been thinking for a while myself, actually. It'd be great. Imagine if we had Seamer as a threat through the middle. I actually thought at Patodri, if we were going to tweak it slightly, we could have taken off. If we wanted to get Matondo off, we could have maybe taken off a centre midfield player, and then maybe moved Seamer next to Danilo. But no, I think that's right, isn't it? I mean, obviously in an ideal where we want Tom Campbell to play at number 10, and we need to, but everybody's just got to be horses for courses, and now you just want to see the attitude just there, don't you? I mean, you spoke about Seamer again. That bloke played left wing back in a game away at Europe. Left wing back, the bloke's an on loan striker and winger. We've been asking Tom Campbell to play 20 yards to the right. That's a different, like you say, horses for courses until we just get this squad evened out and we get all our best players in their best position.
Back in you come, Smurf.
No, I get it. I mean, Seamer's attitude is in depth. Even when he's not played well, you could never accuse a guy lacking desire or trying to execute the game plan or being committed. Even when he's had games, he's only had bad games since we've come back for the international break.
Smurf will drop you and bring you back in. You're breaking up. We'll bring you right back, mate. All right. Robert, in you come.
I don't disagree with Smurf's point there about playing Seamer through middle. I think if you actually look back at the game at the weekend, he was very central for his second goal. Again, it was a Cantwell pass from the 10 position that created it. It does fall down to the personnel in the wing. If you play Seamer up top, we're sitting debating who's playing right wing tomorrow. If you play Sima through the middle, yeah, then going to have the same conversation on the left, and probably you'd maybe edge a Lawrence or a Matondo, but you've still got that no natural right winger unless you do go with McCausland. So the old manager obviously wanted the narrow players to play through the middle, and we've got to kind of go with what we've got just now until obviously the window opens in a couple of weeks. But I don't see any drastic changes happening, as Clement's alluded to already. So we have to go with what we do. And at the minute, it's hard to say that you would change Sima from the left to the centre because he is in form. He is getting goals from that area. He drifts in. You put a long ball into the channel, he'll chase it. You put a cross in from the opposite wing, he'll come into the back post. So he's effective in what he does. But again, it's trying to play to each strength. But it all depends on the personnel around him.
And you come, Kirky?
Aye, 100% to Seema. I must admit, the boy, but even if he has a bad game, he doesn't hide. Never hides the boy. Pity the rest of the team didn't do the same. But no, I'd wait to see him come through the middle as well. Like, I really would. I mean, the boy, I think he's probably playing goals if he absolutely playing goals. He's just, and he's only a one player. I said, just affected the rest of some of the rest of the team. The older players didn't have the same attitude as he has, because he'll run through a brick wall for you, that boy. Like. And the great thing is, if he makes a bad pass, he's there to try the next one. Yeah. Just unfortunately, he'll be with a price range, I think. So.
Well, maybe. JM, the amount that he does, he's one at the front post is frightening, that.
Yeah, like the other guys have said, it's his attitude, isn't it? Even when he's not playing well, and his defensive attitude, not his attacking headers, like you just said, his defending headers. The amount of times it takes you a few seconds to realise, hang on, that was Big Seema back there headering it away, and he's also galloping 30, 40 yards to try and win it back. So fair play to him, because he was the one at the start out of the signings, out of the forwards, who was maybe getting questioned. Fair play to him for showing the right attitude, because he's maybe the only one still out of I'm talking the summer signings forward, who are maybe getting pass marks.
Yeah, what do you think of him, Joanna?
I don't know. I'm thinking about what team would I choose, and I'm thinking as well about that change with taking Roof out, taking that he's injured and stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking. So.
All right, okay. I think you're back with us, Smurf. You all right there?
Aye, I don't know if this is a bit better.
Aye, it was better than that. You were doing what was that guy? Norman Collar impersonator, you were.
You know, I think this is what I was trying to say is, even when he's had a bad game, which is really only ever since he's both come back for the international break, you know, and he's had a new kid, etc. That's all affected things, but his attitude and his work rate and his desire and his commitment, never in question. But I think he's sort of natural centre forward, really. Just like you were saying, the amount of headers he's won at the front post, incredible. So he's one that I think I would quite like to see is trying to make that position his own and sign him next year. You know, if we can come to terms with Brighton. And
how much do you think? How much do you think, mate?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 6.
Oh, mate. Let's be honest. They pay that for tea ladies in that league, mate. That's the problem you've got.
No. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see him getting in the Brighton team.
It doesn't matter, mate. It doesn't matter. Does it, JM?
It's a tough one, isn't it? In regards to, I don't know, when they signed him 2-3 years ago, the boys he's had a couple of maybe described as unsuccessful loan spells, hasn't it? And depending who they want to ship, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I think it would depend on the contract. It would probably be north of 10. I don't think it would get ridiculous due to the fact that I don't think they got Smurf. I think Smurf's right. He's not going to get near the Brighton team. It would just be what did they spend on him originally, and how long's he got left. But I think whatever it is, it'd be a serious outlay for us. and we'll be in the boat, whereas we might be having to look at trying to get 2 or 3 more players for the same amount of money. I think it'd be some statement if we went and got him, tried to prove it, if we did go spend the money. A bit of a Kent situation.
What are you thinking, Robert?
If it's feasible, I would take him. But I don't know if the finances will be there. Brighton did sign him for €8 million 2 years ago. He's obviously got a bit of potential about him. Brighton's done this already. You can see that they sign a player and they make him into a World Cup winner at times as well. So they'll not be shortchanged, let's be honest. But again, it's what the player wants as well, is does he think that he can go down to Brighton and get his way into the squad, or does he feel that he can push forward a transfer request to try and make Rangers come in for him if the manager still wants him at the end of the season? But right now, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't.
Kirky. On you go, Joanna. Ladies first.
I'll keep him.
You
Thank
keep
you.
him?
Yeah, definitely.
Will you pay for him, Joanna?
Yes.
All right, good. Kirky, what are you thinking?
I think they're adding value onto him all the time. That's what I'm thinking.
I'll be shooting myself in the foot.
It's a good point, by the way.
We're just adding value on that boy. The better he gets for us, the more value he's got to be. They'll be sitting watching him. There's no doubt about it. He's certainly a lot better player now than he was when he first came there. Whether it's just settling in or not, I don't know. But he just looks. He's getting better all the time. And the 2 goals he scored on Sunday there, they're 2 class finishes. 2 class finishes. Kind of when he first came here, he was like, don't get me wrong, he has scored goals, but they weren't as clear. They're 2 really top class finishes. I mean, the more time he finishes like that, his price is going to just keep rising. That's the only problem.
He's so good in the air as well.
Sorry, Joanna?
He's very good in the air.
Oh, yes. He's got a lot of attributes. Good in the air, fast, great engine. Is he the most silkiest on the ball? I don't know if he is Smurf, but he's got a lot of attributes.
No, he's got a lot of attributes. I just had a quick look on transfer market there, and his contract's actually up. He's only, when he gets back to Brighton, he's only got a year left in his contract. So if he doesn't sign a new contract, if he doesn't sign a new contract with Brighton, his value is greatly diminished. He's not going to get a game. He's only got a year left. So I think a deal could be done there, and I think, if you look at how much money he's on, in wages, I think it's one of them where, when you weigh up what he's going to earn over the course of the year, and they're going to put him in another loan, I think if he doesn't sign another contract with Brighton, he's very much somebody that we could get at a reasonable price. I think a deal could get done there.
That leads mental, mate. What was it? Somebody who, with a year less than a contract to 30 million or something. It's mental what happens down there. But watch your space, Smurf. Hopefully you're all right, because he would be an asset for us. Robert?
He certainly would, and that's quite an interesting point that has been raised there, that he's got the year left. But again, we're adding value, so there's nothing to say that Brighton would extend that contract and then try and get him out on loan somewhere. Whether he comes back to us again for a loan, I don't know. They might want him to go and play football elsewhere, a bit more challenging for him, a bit more tougher than our league. But maybe one to watch, certainly. But I would take him if the offer was there. I know there's no option at the end of this one, but if they can get a deal negotiated, by all means, I don't think there'd be many fans disappointed if they happened. Just checked as well there, Oxy's got 11 goals in 25 games for us, which is quite a good return if you're playing in the left wing.
Aye.
Because he wants to stay.
Maybe it might be the player might decide. What's his space, Not all players are driven with money, Smurf. No,
that's right. That's right. And when he gets back to Brighton, he's going to have a pre-season, and they might not even offer him another contract. But if they do offer him a contract to try and recoup some of the what they've outlaid on him, there's no guarantee he's going to sign it. He might want to come back. So players want to play football. It's as simple as that. They want to play football, and if you're going to get a game, you're going to get exposure, and you're going to play in Europe. Rangers actually do offer a lot, and he's only 22, so there's a lot of developmental potential in him as well going forward. And just when you think, I mean, it drives me nuts. I shouldn't really mention it, but when you think they would outlay with Ferdinand Dessers and Sam Lammers, you know, as my dad calls them, Summit and Drawers, then you've got a boy like that, you know, sitting there, you think, why did we not go and sign him? It's just beggars belief, really. But that's the situation we're in.
I don't think
the new manager can rectify it.
I think if you criticise the previous regime for bringing in Dessers and Lammers, you've got to praise them, JM, for bringing in Butland and Seamer. I don't think it necessarily follows that we would have a chance to sign Seamer because of the budget.
Yeah, no, true. I suppose in that thing, yeah, rightly so. You know, there's been a couple of them too, yeah, the positive signings, absolutely. There have been positive signings. Obviously, the others haven't hit the ground running. Also, the watch, I know Danilo does look a lot better player than Dessers, but I'm just wondering what we'd be saying about Dessers that had the last two performances up front. Just something to keep an eye on. Maybe why Joanna was alluded to earlier, maybe the manager might be trying Dessers again. That's been a few games in a row, so, you know, the jury's still out on that one as well as your Lammers and Dessers.
Yeah, watch this space, and if we're on this, Robert, the jury's also out in Cifuentes, isn't it?
Still waiting to take us to that next level, mate. But again, he's another one that's had an injury when he came in and played some games, went away with his country, got injured again. So just now he's getting a chance to do a kind of turn in the team, but he's not excelled himself too great and nothing to get excited about. And we're kind of relying on the old guard is Lundstram and Jack. So it kind of says a lot. I kind of about a player if we're still relying on that old guard as such, and a new signing's not exactly lived to that potential. I suppose every signing can do that, but when you've been put in the media as the next player to take you to the next level and everything else is labelled against you, then you can expect something in return, and we've not yet seen that.
That was a bold statement. Turkey, what you making at Clermont so far?
Well, can I just say something about Seamer first? He said 11 goals in 25 games, and he goes back to Brighton. 11 goals in 25 games, a mid-Premier League team. He'll be gone for 20 million. That's what happened. There's no way we can afford to sign him. I don't think so, anyway. If he goes back to Brighton, they might not offer another loan, but there'll be teams in the middle of that English Premiership. 20 million is nothing to them. You're not going to get goals like that. What kind of player could I say? Kind of mediocre player. They'll see his speed. He'll work into that English Premier, no problem. And I think that's what will happen. They maybe go back, but they'll rate the middle teams in the Premier League will take them like a flash, to be quite honest. And they'll just be on their way and be able to compete with them. But as for
I wouldn't let him go. Definitely not.
I don't think we'll not have a say on it, Jan. That's the unfortunate thing. You know, Turkey, in you come.
The likes of Clermont and that, take a break, man, because he's probably arguably Rangers' best player. Ken, what he done in what night was it? Thursday night. He should put he's the boss, and that's it. There's no player bigger than him in that club. And I hope if he does the same way the defenders. Listen, you're not doing what I want today. I'll bring somebody else in. I think he's put it down in the dressing room now that, listen, doesn't matter who you are, how good you are, if you don't do what I say, you'll not be playing. That's the kind of manager, I think, and he said he had a talk with Cantwell. I think he'd have a talk with him talking and Cantwell listening. I think that's how it would be, to be quite honest. And what the difference is, even his attitude and all that seems to have changed on Sunday there. As soon as he got back into playing where he normally plays, the boy's starting to, his form's coming back. I mean, if you're playing in a play position you're strange you're playing in, and it's not working for you, you'll get down very quick. And this is, I can see how Cantwell, he wants to come in to get involved in the game. He's not getting involved in the game out there. That's just not his game. You've got him involved all the time. And I can see Cantwell's point, but I can also see Common saying, right, you either play what you're told or you're not playing at all. So that's just the kind of man we've been needing, that kind of manager for since Souness or Advocat or Smith. That's the kind of manager we've been needing for a long time, and hopefully I'll get the defenders thinking, oh, this is no an easy, we can't rule the dressing room with him here, he's boss, and that's it. So that's the way I look at it. Anyway, other folk are different.
No, great point of view. Anyway, evening, Bob. Yeah.
Good evening, Ox. How are we doing tonight, pal?
All right, mate.
Apart from frozen again. I'm doing okay, mate. I'm doing okay. I was going to book a holiday to Belarus, but I was later than not. You're right about Todd Cantwell. The man was quite right last Thursday for the suburb. I thought so. His attitude was all wrong last Thursday. He wasn't playing well. He gave the ball away numerous times. Look what happened. But he came out there on Sunday and improved greatly, I thought. And I certainly hope he does the same tomorrow night. I'm so looking forward to tomorrow once again. Tough game at the Tynecastle. They've improved a bit, but I think we can do it tomorrow. And it was a less than impressive AGM today.
No, it wasn't great, mate. It wasn't great.
No, it wasn't.
Robert?
Yes, it was certainly bold, Bob Ger, to make the sub, and I agree with you. It was, for me personally, the right call when it did come out as a statement from the manager to say that no matter who you are, or whether it's an influential player or a young boy, if you're not listening to the instructions, then you're going to come off. But at the same time, I know we're questioning his attitude, but I don't think there's anything wrong with Cantwell thinking that he's a better number 10 than Sam Lammers, because we all know he is. But again, if the manager's giving an instruction, then you have to go out and do it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having a feeling of, I'm better than him, I can be more effective. And we know that as supporters. The manager will clearly see it every day in training. But again, his instructions set out, you've got to go and do the job, and he didn't do it, and he was hooked. And in the end, the manager's decision paid off. McCausland got the goal, and he's kicked on from that as well. So small decisions or big decisions at certain times in games can continue into the next couple of weeks and months, especially for a player like McCausland. He'll kick on now, hopefully. And Cantwell's obviously had that talk. He's came back into the squad and his natural number 10 in a very well-rounded performance at the weekend with the 2 assists.
Smurf, it's difficult, the dynamics in the dressing room, but I think in one fell swoop he sent a message at Clement last Thursday. Yeah?
Well, it's a shot wrong. It's a shot across everybody's bows. It doesn't matter who you are. Nobody's bigger than the club, and you'll need to perform. And you'll need to follow instructions. I don't agree with this narrative that Todd Cantwell's no willing to play in certain positions. I think his attitude's spot on, and I think he is willing to. But I don't think he's a kind of maverick. He plays off the cuff, and he plays the game how he sees it unfolding in front of him, and he looks for the ball. He looks to get onto the ball, so he was drifting inside to get more involved. But that was taking away the width. He was given instructions to stay wide. And of course, he's feeling isolated. It's not his natural position. So it was a case he wasn't following instructions. It wasn't that he wasn't willing to play there. And I think that unfortunately for us, we've got a player there who, although he's got bags of ability, is limited in the roles that he can play, I think. And, you know, the manager put him back in his natural position, which I think was, he gave the initial shot across the bows and hooked him, but he's put it around him and put him in his correct position, and he's got 2 assists for it. So it was brilliant man management after the event as well. And I don't think enough's been said about that. So all in all, you're right what you're saying, Ox. It's a delicate balance in the dressing room, and the manager seems to know how to handle it. And so, you know, there's a lot of kudos to him for that.
Players have disagreements with managers all the time, Bob Chia. But it's where it ends up, isn't it? Yeah, that's where it ends up. You have that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you've got a big squad of boys at a big club, people are going to disagree, especially when things are not going well. But I'd like to think that Todd Cantwell was an isolated case in that last Thursday. It wasn't happening for the boy, and he knew it, and he was getting annoyed with himself. And it just wasn't doing the business. So that man wasn't afraid to take one of his I didn't say mere senior, but his top draw players and say, right, nah, you're not doing it. You're not any different from anybody else. You're not performing. Off you come. I'll change it about. And it worked for him with young McCausland. It just shows, like the boys are saying there anyway, nobody's bigger than the club. No matter how good you are, nobody's bigger than the club. And I hope it gave Todd Cantwell a kick up the you-know-what that it may do. And I hope he comes out here tomorrow night at Tynecastle, does a business for his jars. We all hope that. And I think he just might. So, because he wasn't playing well, Ox, after his injury and after the international break. He wasn't doing it. And I don't care. As you say, players and managers disagree about things all the time. If the disagreements are for the good of the club as a whole, well, fair enough. It makes the boy's attitude better. I'm all for it. And it seems to have done it with Todd Cantwell. Here's hoping so anyway.
Well, I've got a question for you, if you don't mind.
On you go, mate.
Tomorrow's game, Tynecastle. We've all been to Tynecastle. Tiny wee pitch. Probably one, if not the smallest pitch in the league. Do you think that's a game, given Desser's lack of pace and mobility, do you think that's a game that, given the size of the pitch, or the dimensions of the pitch, that would suit Desser's?
In a word, no. JM?
Is it a multi-sports pitch? Can we get another pitch that he can play on? Another sport he can have a go at? I see what you're saying. I think Joanna made the point as well, and maybe because we're looking to make the game a bit more physical. I can maybe see what a manager was looking at if he thinks, a bit like Pataudry, where we not got enough space to get the ball on the deck and play and maybe link up as much. But I find it hard to. Unfortunately, I said earlier, Danilo hasn't had the best couple of games, but I think he'll still be going with Danilo myself.
Yeah. Robert?
I actually think being a tight park, it's more suited to Danilo with his pace, that he can press down quicker and cover a lot more distance than Dessers would in the same kind of area. Obviously, the faster the player, the quicker they can get to the opponent if they're doing a high press. And probably Danilo's touch and reactions are probably better than Dessers as well. So, again, a crowded area, you'd probably fancy Danilo to be on the ball more. And again, that's when you'd like to have Cantwell on the 10. And I said earlier, I think he'll be on the right though. But it's when you kind of want your intricate players that you can dance with a ball. But I think it's more suited to Danilo just for his pace alone, just to kind of cover that ground.
Joanna, you like Dessers, eh?
Yes, but it's a good point, the fact that the pitch is too big, and that's a good point that you guys are making. I'm not sure if Dessers will be the best option in this case, depending on who you play with. Like if you have Sima and Danilo and Dessers as a front, it might not be a big difference, but if you want to play Canwell as a number 10, I'm not sure. And then McCuslin, I'm trying to think the formation. So can I ask what formation are you guys thinking for tomorrow?
Personally, I think it'll be a 4-2-3-1. I think that's the system we're playing at the moment. JM?
Yeah, we went for the team earlier. I think it'll be the same. It won't be much different. I know the manager went with a 4-4-2 for a couple of games, but I think that's just more down to personnel and fitness. I think it'll be a 4-2-3-1 as well.
What are you thinking, Smurf? And then Bobja?
He's going to play a 4-2-3-1. That's his system. That's the players we've got that's sort of suited to that system. And I think it's going to be a really physical game. So I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure how we're going to hold up with that.
Right, here's my problem with Dessers, mate. Right, forget about his players. When you play the ball, all he does is shove, mate. So ultimately, if it's a physical game, you're clearing the lines between free kicks. And he's even more so in Sakala. He's offside there. And with VAR being involved in the game, you've got to make your runs different. He'll cost his goals getting chopped off for being in offside positions, mate. And he's a young lad, he will learn quick, yeah?
Aye. You think in that wee pitch, though?
It's not that wee, mate. You would be surprised.
No, I know what you're saying, but do you not think that he's it's going to be a physical game. I think Danilo got battered out there, and but I do get your point. I mean, I've watched I think it came for a throw in, and it was a through ball, and he was in a race with a centre back in that last game, and the guy sort of got in front of him, and he just pushed him out on the box. Just literally pushed him out on the box out of frustration. And nothing was gave. There was no free kick. There was nothing. And I thought, I could have been about here. So I do get your point.
That's the problem. He's got to be cuter, mate, because he's got to learn. What? It wouldn't surprise me if he starts tomorrow night. It wouldn't be the biggest surprise we've ever had, Bobja. But I wouldn't start him tomorrow night.
No, neither would I. But it's a good point actually. When you think about it, you're talking about a hard physical game at Tynecastle. Come up. You can't. It's like you've seen it 100 times, and to have a big lump of a laddie like Dessers in the middle might not be a bad thing. He might come of age tomorrow night. It's about time he did it. I mean, I hope so. But I didn't see it. I think he will start with Danilo, but I do think Dessers will take some part of the game later on because the manager will notice that and all. He kens the kind of game he's going into. A typical rough, tough Scottish Premier League game, and if things are going well for us, I think he might hook Danilo and stick him on a straight light for light with Dessers. I think that could happen. Good point, actually. Easy food for thought about it. But yeah, I think that might happen. He'll start with him. He won't start with him. He'll start with Danilo definitely. But I think if things are going well, we will stick Dessers in there, right?
Right. Cheers, Bob. Yeah, good to hear from you. Yeah, it's almost last word for your good self, Turkey boy.
No, brilliant show, guys. Makes my night. I must admit, the only complaint I've got to make, like, I couldn't get Maltesers in here. I just one of the little David buys them by the ton up there or something.
I think he does, mate. Well, what
Christmas Day, shops or so. He doesn't even buy a ton at a time, like, sure.
What he does was David doesn't buy them by a ton at a time. David doesn't buy nothing. Right. Good looking for me. Cheers, Kirky. Joanna, last word.
Just thank you for taking my call, and let's wait for tomorrow for a good result.
Cheers, Joanna. Smurfy boy.
Good night, lads, and onwards and upwards. fingers crossed for a good 2-0 result tomorrow. Good night.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Robert.
Good show tonight, mate. Good callers. Looking forward to tomorrow night and hopefully another good performance and 3 points on the board.
JM.
Yep, good show tonight, especially second half. Good to get so many callers on, some good questions, some good talking points, and yeah, let's hope for another positive result tomorrow.
Yep, thanks to Joanna, Bobja, Kirky and Smurf for joining us. Thanks to Robert and JM for doing the show. Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night. Let me just make sure I get a kick-off time right.
8 p.m. kick-off tomorrow.
8 o'clock, innit? Aye, that is 8 o'clock, innit? We'll be back at 7 p.m. with a pre-match show building up to a Rangers victory at Tynecastle. Thanks for listening. Take it away, Old School Blue.